Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Gillian Barry, and today we have an amazing, incredible guest for you guys. Her name is Cynthia, and she went plant-based in 2019 and raw vegan this year, and she says it has changed her life like nothing else. She reached out to me, and I absolutely loved her vibe and her story, and she is 63. Look at her, guys. She looks amazing. She looks younger than me, and I'm 40, and she says she feels better than she's ever felt in her entire life. So let's find out what she's doing. Let's talk to her. She's amazing. Hey, Cynthia, how's it going?
Hey, Jillian, everything is great. How about you?
Everything is great. No complaints. Life is good. And I was just so thanks for reaching out to me. I think you're awesome.
Thank you. Likewise, that goes
Thank
both
you.
ways.
Thank you. So, yeah, what the heck has happened? You've had a big transformation. Take us through this. When did this start? I'd love to hear your story.
Yeah, so I actually just to jump right into it, I've actually been on like a up and down roller coaster for as long as I can remember because and the reason why is just because I was thick at the bottom, I thought I was quote unquote fat once upon a time, but now I know I wasn't. But at one point, I was overweight. Around 1995 around 1995, I was headed toward a size 20. And
Wow.
I'm like, oh my goodness, this has to cease and desist.
Yeah.
So yeah, to make a long story short, I made a transition. I moved from Florida to Pennsylvania, and the church that I was going to, one of the ministries did a 40-day fruit and vegetable fast. So I wasn't a part of that ministry, but I jumped on board. I'm like, whatever, I need to do something. I know it's for spiritual reasons, but my motive was not spiritual. My motive was to shed some pounds. Believe it or not, again, now this was in 1996. I was headed toward a size 20. And believe it or not, on that 30-day fruit and vegetable fast, I ended up going from almost a size 20 to a size 12, 14,
Wow.
somewhere 12 and 14. And so after the 30 days, since life was so great and I was shedding the pounds, I just decided to keep going, doing what I was doing. I ended up like very briefly for like 2 minutes at a size 4. But then, of course, when I started my regular diet back, I crept up and I maintained a size 8 for a few years. Fast forward, I met my ex roommate who was she wasn't I don't know, she just ate healthy. She introduced me to juicing, which I didn't take on, but the only meat that she ate was chicken. So I said, okay, well, I'll just start eating just, vegetables and chicken, which I started doing that and that worked very well. So when I finally kind of plateaued, I was around a size 12, right? Uh, Long story short, I maintained like a size 12 for about 6 years until I met my husband and
Hmm.
married him. And then the weight started creeping back up again. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. So I took up running, something that I was never able to do back in the day. I remember when I was in school, when we would come to PE, the first thing we had to do was run one lap around the track. I never could make it. That was all I couldn't, and I found out later on that it wasn't so much the size, it was my breathing. So anyway, I took up jogging, and as I started jogging, I noticed some changes, with the weight, even though my diet was just gone, it just went haywire. But because I was running, I noticed that I started toning, and a lot of people were commenting on, "Oh, you're losing so much weight." I really wasn't losing weight. I was really toning. I was tightening up because the scale wasn't telling me that I was losing a lot of weight, but I could tell by the way that my clothes were fitting that I was losing inches or something. And that was fine with me. And I maintained. So now I'm like 10-ish, 12-ish, in size. And then I hurt my back where I couldn't run. So I couldn't run. So the weight started creeping up again. I'm like, oh, here we go. So now about this time, I'm around 50. I'm like maybe in my mid 50s, 50, 54, 55, something like that. And I tried everything, Jillian. I tried pills. I tried Slim Fast. I tried everything that I could think of, fasting, which always worked for me. I could always rely on a 3-day water fast and drop some weight to get me jump started. Nothing was working. I started thinking about what they always say about the older you get, the harder it is to lose it because your metabolism, is at a different place. And I'm like, oh, okay, that must be true. So try it. I did it, starving myself. I mean, I did everything that I could think of. Enough teas, nothing was working. Okay, fast forward. I was around 50, 55, 56. So then I had a major transition where I moved from Pennsylvania back to Florida. So I'm still carrying this extra weight. I'm like up to like around a 14, 16. I'm carrying this extra weight and I am just like beside myself. I'm running every day, 4 to 5 miles, 5 times a week. By this time, and I skipped some stuff, but by this time I'm pescatarian. So,
Mhm.
fish and fruit,
Mhm.
vegetable thing, right? Nothing. I'm like, what is going on? Okay. So then it becomes Lenten season. The year that I moved back, and about 4 months later, it was Lenten season. And the church that I was attending did a 40-day fruit and vegetable fast. I'm like, yes, okay. Well, the only thing that I was able to remove, of course, was the fish because I was already only doing fruit and vegetables. I'm like, okay, let's go for it. Fruit, maybe it's the fish. So fruit and vegetable fast, 40 days later, Jillian, I had not lost a
Oh,
micro inch.
what?
Running
Wow.
every day, 4 to 5 miles a day, 5 times a week. I'm like,
What the
what?
heck?
Exactly. I was just beside myself. I was really I'm like, I'm not settling for this. I don't like how I look, don't like how I feel. Something has got to give. Fast forward, I was in Panama City, Florida, and Hurricane Michael came through and destroyed our city. So I had to relocate again, which is how I ended up in Central Florida, which is where I am now. Here I go again. By this time, it's January 2019. I'm still struggling with weight, walking every day. I mean, doing all the things that I thought
Wow.
I needed to be doing to shed the pounds. Nothing happening, right? Here we go again. 2019, it's Lenten season again, and the church that I'm attending does a Daniel fast, which again is basically fruit and vegetables. So it's a Daniel fast. So I'm thinking, okay, there's nothing for me to eliminate but fish. And again, this fasting, Jillian, mind you, is supposed to be for spiritual reasons, but I'm sorry. Sorry, Lord, but my motive was like so not spiritual. I wanted to lose weight. So it occurred to me, okay, the only thing left for me to remove is fish. Why don't I remove dairy? I don't know why that came to me. It must have been an epiphany. But I said, you know what? I'm going to remove dairy. Mind you, that was a huge step because your girl loved herself some cheese, or LOVED, past tense. But at the time, I loved myself some cheese. I love myself a good old Western omelet. Okay. Cheese, butter,
Mhm.
butter, 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 cheese, butter, 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 but I eliminated all animal byproducts during that 21 days. And let me tell you, the rest is history. The weight
Wow.
just started dropping. I had a new physician because I had moved to a new area. So she was monitoring me. I've never had any health issues. So that's not my testimony. I've always been very healthy as far as my numbers and all of that. It was just the weight.
The weight.
So, yeah, so my new doctor is monitoring me. So I'm just seeing her. So that meant that, she was getting blood work and I was seeing her maybe for some reason, I was seeing her like bi-weekly for like maybe a couple of months because she was just trying to get me acclimated to her. Every time I went back for my visit, a follow-up visit, I had lost weight. I'm like,
Wow.
"Yeah." She's like,
Finally.
yes. She's like, what are you doing? I said, I eliminated all animal products from my diet. She was like, wow. And so she was just watching me and watching me. And like I said, the rest is history. Fast forward in June of this year, I decided to myself because I'm like that. I like to challenge myself. I said, just do a raw vegan, do raw for like 14 days. I did it for like 5 days in 2021, nothing. So I'm like, just do a raw 14-day raw vegan challenge. And like I told you, it is 171 days later between becoming vegan and raw vegan. Now I've lost 40 plus pounds.
And so when you decided to do the 14 days raw, that was supposed to be 14 days. Now it's 171 days later. Is that because wow.
I can't come out of it. I can't get
Wow.
out of it. I am like, I'm good. And this is, wait a minute now. This is the part that's going to blow you away. I have literally for 170, today is 171 days. I have literally been eating the same thing.
Wow. Wow. Well, I want to ask,
Yeah.
I know you said before in the past, like fortunately, you never had health issues really, right? Thank God you got through all that with like, but how do you feel like now versus then?
Oh my goodness. Number one, my mental clarity is like at some type of level that is not even on a scale that you can measure. It is like through the roof. I can just, like this morning, I can just wake up in the morning and things that I've been contemplating, things that I've been thinking about, how do I execute this? How do I do this? How do I do that? I can wake up in the morning and a thought will just be like, boom. And it's never been like that before. I can be sitting at my computer and doing some type of project, working on some type of project, and thoughts are just like bombarding me. And I'm having to get my, start typing and writing. I mean, the mental clarity is through the roof. My energy level, check this out. The only issue, quote unquote, that I supposedly had was my doctor said that I was anemic. So she had me on iron, right? And I'm very like, so like, don't like chemicals.
Mhm.
So I went ahead and, complied. I did notice that, okay, so I complied. I took the iron. I was like, whatever she says. And I'm like, how can I get this without, the pill? She's like, well, eat more beets, eat more liver, raisins, da, 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 da. Well, of course, you probably would have to consume a heck of a lot of that to get the levels that you need, the levels of iron that you need. But anyway, I just went along with the taking the iron, right? One day I decided to not take it, and I could tell the difference. I was like,
Hmm. Wow.
you're just dragging.
Hmm.
Tell you, can I tell you, I don't take iron anymore.
Wow.
I haven't seen my doctor. I don't see her until April for my annual. I'm so curious to see I'm just so curious. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I don't, and I'm telling you, I can't, there was a difference when I was taking the iron and when I
Wow.
stopped taking it, when I stopped before I became raw. This is
Yeah.
before I became raw. But since I've become raw, I have not taken iron. And your girl is like bouncing off the walls, like,
Yeah, I can tell. And you're like 63. I love this. And so what are you currently eating in a day or like in a week? What does your meal plan look like? This is clearly working for you.
it really is. And let me tell you, I'm the type of person when I find something that works, I just stick with it. I'm the type of person that, I don't move my furniture around, if it looks good, if it ain't broke, I don't fix it. I'm so random. Number one, I don't do breakfast. I never have. So my first meal of the day is usually like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe 3. If I have an inkling, and sometimes at night, I'll just make a smoothie and say, in case I want something in the morning. Every now and again, I will have a smoothie in the morning. And I don't even call it breakfast because it's usually not breakfast. It's usually brunch. So it's because it's usually like 11ish because I just don't tolerate food early in the morning. I never have, as long as I can remember. So, like I said, I think everybody should do, because you read so much stuff and you get so much information. And this one says, do this, don't do this, do the other. I
Hmm.
say, do what works for you. If it's
Hmm.
not working, then try to figure out what's going on. But if it's working, if you feel great, then hey, so be it. So, like I said, every now and then, again, in a blue moon, I will have a smoothie for so-called breakfast, but it's usually past breakfast time, what we consider breakfast time. But to answer your question, every day for 171 days, with the exception of eating a smoothie every now and again, I have a salad. What my salad usually consists of is power greens, which is it's a mixture of kale, spinach, arugula. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's the
Hmm.
packaged stuff from Target. I usually do cherry tomatoes, some type of nuts. I like walnuts, raisins, because I like that sweet taste in there, celery, cucumbers, carrots. I was listening to Dr. Ari, who I met through your channel. He was talking about carrots being full of starch and he described it. So now I'm like, ooh, okay, I'm gonna finish these carrots and I'm not having any more. But basically, that's all I eat. I'm not big on juicing because I'm too lazy.
Hmm.
So ain't juicing,
Yeah.
I don't have no need to unless something comes up because I'm too lazy. I tried it. I have one. I'm just too lazy. I literally eat salads every day for snacks. I love watermelon, and so I like apples. I will eat apples. I do whatever doesn't take any work, and it's great. So my salads, I usually like. I was real good at prepping those, and I would only do two. Keep two in the fridge because I could only eat one a day. And I have this little bowl. Probably it's not probably that big around. It's not a real big bowl, but I pack it. It's full of salad. And so one of the things is I do eat beans. I do
Hmm.
eat beans. They're not sprouted, so I'm high raw. That's the only thing.
You're
I
still
love.
raw. I think the
Yeah,
definition is like 80% or something. You're
yeah.
still,
Okay, yes. I love black beans, chickpeas, and lentils. So I'll
hmm,
usually drop those in my
salad.
salad. And for snacks, I eat so many nuts. That's probably why I'm a nut because I eat like all. But that's it. And oh, and I have this concoction. I don't drink it every day, but this is my apple apple cider vinegar with lemon, cinnamon, dash of black pepper, cayenne, agave, and lemon. So this
Wow.
is, yeah, I drink one of these every day. And of course, I drink water. I don't drink anything but water. Haven't had anything on this palette but water for ever and a day. That's it.
Well, you must have been so happy to finally find something that worked and good for you still sticking to it. It must have been so frustrating when you were sometimes like thinking you were doing the right thing and doing the right thing and not seeing the results, right? During those years.
Exactly. And so what I do know with beyond a shadow of a doubt for Cynthia, I don't know about for anybody else, but for Cynthia, it was the animal products that was sabotaging me.
Wow.
Period. And you know what? Now it's a bittersweet situation with the weight because all of my clothes are like falling. I don't have anything that fit, stuff that I bought. And I'm like, I thought I was looking good in it, honey. And when I go back and look at the pictures now, I'm like, girl, you wasn't looking good. You thought you now, Jillian, those same cute clothes, of course, they're like sagging and bagging. I don't like have a closet full of clothes that I can't wear. Guess what? Hallelujah.
Yeah, amazing. And can I ask what size you are now, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, like a 10. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. Well,
Mhm,
way to go. And
mhm.
so if somebody wants to try this and they're like, "Oh, I want to try what Cynthia's done." How if you had some advice to give them on how to get started, where to start, how to follow this path to see if it works for them too.
Absolutely. And I know it's probably much of the same, but it's true, nothing new, but something true. Mindset is everything. Mindset is everything. Envisioning. I remember I did a Facebook Live a few years ago about clutter or decluttering. In the live, someone reached out to me and said, "Well, okay, I got you, but I've been trying, and how do you do it?" And I was talking about decluttering your actual, physical space. I said, what I do before I declutter, I stand in that room and I look at that room and I envision that room being orderly and organized. I envision where this should go, where that should go, where I would like for that to be. I see that room orderly and organized and decluttered. Once I see it, then I get at it. So I say the same thing about your health journey. You have to, first of all, envision what it is that you want. You have to see that thing. If you were, and let's just use this because it's, people like to talk about, I think it's a subject that people like to talk about as far as weight, because let's face it, nobody wants to be fat. I'm sorry. I mean, we want to be
Mhm.
healthy. Let's not, we're not, I know sometimes we talk about the weight first and then talk about the health as an afterthought, but that's kind of what it is. It's like, because we're visual people and, but anyway, so getting back to what I was saying is, so if you are a size 20 and you want to be a size 12, envision yourself. Now, I'm not about putting up pictures and all. I tried that before. Child, that don't work because after a while, you won't even look at the picture. You don't even, at least for me, I don't even know the picture is there. So it
Mhm.
has to be in here for me. And I'm not telling anybody else not to do the pictures or the posters or all that, but I don't do vision boards and all that. My vision board is in here, baby. It's in
Mhm.
here. So I tell people, envision it, see yourself. And that's what it was with me. Like when I would, even because I think I've been watching you before I started dropping as much, and I don't do scales. I really don't know how much I weigh. I just know by my clothes. But I would look like when I'm watching you and I'm like, yeah, I like her look. So I internalize that. I see Jillian. I see people that I want to somewhat, look like as far as, size and how they look so great and how, like when you during your birthday party, how your clothes fell on you and they look so great. Envision it. That's the first thing that I would say to someone, envision it. And the second thing that I would say is research, research, research. Watch videos like Jillian Berry. See what people are doing. See what people have done to get to where they are. And research, research, research. I'm a big I read everything. I'm like raw vegan obsessed, and I know some people say, don't give me a title or whatever. I don't care about a title or all that. I mean, let me tell you, sometimes the first time I fell off the bandwagon was day before, a couple of days ago in my raw vegan journey. I had a taste for some salt and vinegar potato chips. I
Mhm.
was craving. I bought a bag, ate some out of it one day, ate some out of another day, and then threw them away. I'm like, okay, that's enough. But research, 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 and learn how to, as I said earlier, eat the meat and spit out the bones. In other words, take in whenever you're gathering information, take in the information that works for you and that's applicable to you. And if it's not, throw it out. What works for
Mhm.
Jillian doesn't work for Cynthia and vice versa. So those are the top two things that I would say. Envision that mindset, get that mindset together, and then research, watch people who are doing what you want to do, who are successful at what you've been successful at, and then get at it and tailor make. The third thing that I would say is tailor make your regimen for you. Tailor
Mhm.
make your regimen for you. Make it work for you. Eating salads every day for 171 days has worked for me, and I'm good with it. I'm good. A couple of times I stepped off I made like the raw taco, with the what do you call it? The
The
romaine lettuce
walnut
and
meat and yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I ain't even used walnut meat. I just used it was like a salad on romaine lettuce.
That's great. That's what I do with mine too.
Yeah, I'm so late. I'm gonna get to the walnut meat because one thing is I haven't invested in a food processor yet. So that's why I don't do like I have like recipe upon recipes upon recipes, and I'm like, okay, one day I'll get to it. But right now, because I haven't invested in any equipment, and I think that's pretty darn good. But
Yeah.
because I'm so like cool when it comes to just being boring sometimes. So I've been eating salads for 171 days. So yeah, so your mindset slash envisioning. What was the second one? Research. Watch people that's doing
Mhm.
what you want to do and are successful at it. And the third thing is, I forgot what I said the third thing is.
And have you been able to stay full? I know a lot of people think like I can't stay full on these raw foods. Has that been any issue or no?
Not at all. Girl, sometimes I eat that. I'll tell my husband, we're separated. He's still in Pennsylvania now. And I'll tell him, I said, I got this salad. I said, I'm eating it. I said, I'm getting so full. He was like, well, stop eating. I'm like, but I don't want to because it's not enough for it to be another salad, so I just want to finish. But yes, I am plenty full, but I get very full. But if for some reason I'm not full, like yesterday, I ate and I realized that I was hungry. But then I also realized because I saw somebody do something real quick on YouTube, Kamari, you may be familiar with her. She did something real quick and I
Mhm.
did it.
Yeah, I'm friends with her.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was very good, but it wasn't filling. It's because I didn't eat enough of it. So but I realized as I was headed to the kitchen to eat, I'm like, are you really hungry or are you thirsty? So guess what? Went for
Yeah.
and I was good. So to answer your question, I'm plenty full. And if I'm not, I just eat more because the stuff that I'm eating is good stuff.
True. And yeah, I think a lot of times when we think we're hungry, we're actually thirsty. It's like really common that we're dehydrated or we're actually thirsty. And have the people around you been supportive? Have they noticed big changes and have they been supportive and have any of these habits like rubbed off on them?
Very much so. And it's funny that you would ask that question. I told you that my husband and I are separated, but we're good friends. He lives in Pittsburgh. So I visited him for 10 days in July, right? It was like what, maybe 2 weeks into my raw vegan journey. So I had already prepped him before I got there, like, okay, this is what I'm eating. He was like, well, I'm like, I ain't telling you. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. So don't be
Yeah.
coming for me, right? So so he was very supportive. Like he's always been this way, even when we were married, he's very attentive to certain details. So he would notice, he said, you about to run out of tomatoes. You need me to pick you up some tomatoes. I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So check this out. So anyway, I went through 10 days of being there with him. Everything was great. He was very supportive. How about when I get back to Florida, we're on the phone talking one day. He said, so he said, you know what? I think I'm gonna get spinach instead of such and so I've noticed that his dialogue has changed around food and what he's eating.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Now, here's the real interesting thing. I live with my cousin who ain't vegan. She ain't none of that, right? She eats well though. She eats well, but she still eats meat or whatever. Honey, first of all, I went vegan when I was living with her, and I'm still living with her. Now I'm raw, and I have to smell food cooking for breakfast, dinner, and supper, and I'm fine. But she does not bother me whenever there's some type of an affair. And she always says, she says, I'm going to get tickets to so and so. She said, but I know you don't eat that. So probably no point in you going. I'm like, yeah, right. I'm not going to waste my money because I'm not going to be able to eat. But she's not saying, oh, well, how long? What? The only thing she said was maybe like 2 weeks into me being raw. And I mentioned I'm eating raw. And I just kind of said it in passing, but like we didn't have a conversation. She was like, raw. I'm like, yeah. So I haven't been near the stove for 171 days, and she just, she
And
hasn't said
do you miss cooked food at all?
no. When she's cooking, that food smells. So, if you can say that I miss it in that sense, that food, girl, that food be smelling so good. But
Yeah.
I don't want it. I'm good. Let me tell you, when I'm sitting here eating my little raw stuff, oh, I'm just savoring like every bite. It is just, I just feel like, because it's life, it's living food that's going to a living being. So it makes me alive. So when I'm eating it, I feel alive. I feel vibrant. I just feel, whew. So yeah, but I have people that have reached out to me. I have several people that have reached out to me, and then when we schedule, they cancel because I guess they're like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. But I post often on Facebook. especially I'm on Facebook, IG, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and I always post across all of my social media platforms. But people, yeah, have been very supportive. But I got real tickled because I did a post on Facebook last night and IG about 170 days in, blah, 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 blah. And I could kind of feel the energy like, baby, it's Thanksgiving and we ain't trying to hear that.
Yeah.
So like two people like my post, but people just, like Thanksgiving, I've gathered so many recipes for Thanksgiving. So if I decide tomorrow that I don't want to do a salad, I have some good alternatives.
Yeah, good. And would you say
So the
like you
support has been great. I'm sorry.
good. Would you say you feel like happier than you've ever felt?
Yes, you're asking all the right questions.
Good.
Yes, I do. And let me tell you, my temperament. Let me tell you one of my pet peeves, what one of my major pet peeves was speaking to someone in customer service who didn't get it. And I would, when I tell you, I'm sorry, don't judge me, judge your mama. I
Yeah.
would go from 1 to 10 in like 2 seconds. Like, did you not hear what I said? I noticed I'm so even with my husband because well, in case he's watching this, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, even with him, I'm so calm. Things that used to like set me off, push me over the edge, am so calm.
It's
And I,
not just you. I hear this over and over when I interview people. And it's same with me. I used to get really bad road rage before I was raw vegan and stuff like that. And it's just you're more like calm and yeah.
yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing how I haven't done any in-depth research, but I've done a little bit of reading on how food and your mental health, because I also am a
Hmm.
mental health advocate. So I read a lot on mental health because, like I said, I'm a mental health advocate. I'm one of four siblings. I'm the youngest and the only girl, and all of my brothers were slash affected by severe mental health issues. My oldest brother was bipolar. He ended up committing suicide around
Oh,
31, 32. My middle brother has been missing. He's schizophrenic for over 2 decades. My youngest brother is schizophrenic and he's been institutionalized for 35 years in a maximum
wow.
security facility for the criminally insane. Yeah, I'm a mental health advocate, but I said that to say that I have done some reading on how your diet and mental health, the collab between the two, and people don't realize how important it is to put the right foods into your body, how foods can affect even your
I know.
mental well-being.
Big
It's a
time.
mhm,
It's
mhm.
huge. It's huge. I think I have to start doing some more videos just on that topic alone because that is just an absolutely huge thing. I mean, I know there's some other things that come into play in people's lives, obviously, like trauma and things can happen,
Sure.
but the food just plays such a huge part. And it did for me and my thoughts and being more positive, and it totally transformed me too when I went raw. Okay, so I know you didn't go into this for spiritual reasons, obviously. Like and I think that's the case for most people when they take a healthier route, whether it's raw or something else. Usually, I think it's like driven by, wanting to lose weight or fix their health problems and not spiritual reasons. But have you found this to be a more spiritual path?
Yeah, very much so because I am a spiritual person. I am a woman of faith. I'm happen to be an ordained, licensed and ordained minister, and I am a person of faith, and I believe in spirituality. And I can even see how it's affecting my spirituality, how I'm more keen and I'm more in touch with my spirituality. I'm seeing things clearer and more different because I was raised in this strict Pentecostal environment, and it was like all these rules and regulations, do's and don'ts, and dids and didn'ts, and all of that. And so my perception about spirituality was somewhat skewed. And of course, as you grow older, of course you grow wiser. And
Mhm.
I am growing older and wiser. But I noticed during this raw vegan journey that I'm more clear as far as my spirituality is concerned, and even when it relates to other people, how I'm so much more open, certain things that I deemed to be not so popular with me, and I'm just kind of, talking in circles, but that had to do with spirituality as far as I'm concerned. I noticed that I'm more open to certain things. So it's just transforming altogether. It's just been transforming altogether. I'm just, yeah, and my immune system, I know I wasn't ever one to get like a lot of colds and stuff like that anyway, but I already know with a particular situation that I just experienced that I was very, very close to a situation and I wasn't affected by it. I
Wow.
know it's because of what I'm doing. I know that.
Yeah. And where do you think you'd be right now if you didn't take this path? Like if you didn't take the plant-based or raw path?
I would still be overweight and wanting, because my confidence, being when you look in the mirror and you see an image that looks good to you, it does something for your confidence. And when you're confident, and I believe that we all have a purpose, and I know, well, let me just say, I believe we all have a purpose, but for me, because of how I feel now, because of how I look, and because of how I feel, my confidence level, which I didn't mention before, is very, very high and is very helpful in me being to execute what I'm on this earth to do. Like, it's easier for me to come on camera now because before, even though I thought I looked good, because like I said, when I look back on some pictures, I'm like, no, you did not look good. But I had to keep functioning. But now, because of how I feel and how I look, my confidence level is up. So it makes it easier for me to walk the path that I'm supposed to be walking. Now, when I'm talking to people, I'm not self conscious about how I look. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's taken my life, it's just changed the trajectory of my life. It's taken my life to a whole new level. Again, just like my mental clarity, my confidence is through the roof. You can't tell me nothing.
I love it. I love it. And you said you did some water fast, so I thought that was interesting. I'm actually interviewing Alan Goldhammer today, so he's like the king of water fasting, right? That's one thing I've never done. So I'm wondering, so you mentioned you did a few 3 days. What kind of benefits did you experience from those?
Well, with the water fasting, again, it was always a spiritual thing because the churches that I went to, a lot of them would do water fast, complete fast from Wednesday through Friday. So that was Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I grew up in a household where my mother fasted. My mother would do like 40-day fast and she would only take in like a little bit of juice. And it wasn't
Mm.
real juice. It was like the Tropicana, but she would just drink just enough to give her energy. And my mother was like you. She was a very petite, very small lady, but built nicely. So I'm very accustomed to fasting. But yeah, to answer your question, when I would do the water fast, again, it was for spiritual reasons. And I'm telling you, I remember doing a water fast, a particular water fast that I did because at this one church that I went to, we did water fast every week. So I was fasting 3 days a week every week. So I was losing 10 pounds every week, but I would, gain them back when I started eating. But one of the benefits of the water fast was, of course, the weight loss. But it was, again, I remember one particular water fast that I did. And the reason why I remember this one was because I knew for a fact that this was due to the fast. I remember I had to sing this solo, and I have a tenor, I sing tenor, but someone handed me a CD. It was a soundtrack, and I started rehearsing this song, which was in a range that was much higher than the range that I sing in. And I remember that Friday night, this was the third day into that fast, when I sang that song, my vocal cords were at a level that I have never, ever seen them. And I know it was due to the fast.
Yeah.
I just already know that, you know. And again, of course, the weight loss, that was always a biggie for me. And during those times, and that's how in that space of time, that's when I maintained the size 8. When I had gotten to a size 8, and that was one of the sizes where I plateaued, as long as I was at that particular church, I maintained the 8 because we fasted every week for 3
Hmm.
days. So I maintained, and then I was younger too. I was in my 30s. I was working out every
Hmm.
day. I was buff. You couldn't tell me nothing, you know.
Hmm.
And but the fasting, it's just, let me just put it this way. The fasting always promotes overall mental well-being, if you would ask me, if you ask me. If I want to wrap it up in one sentence, I would say that fasting promotes an overall mental well-being.
Yeah, it's unreal what it can do for us. And what do you think, like through all this, the raw, the plant-based, like what has been like the greatest lesson you've learned through all of this?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say that the greatest lesson that I've learned is more, and please hear me, listening audience, more than anything, what we transfer from our forks to our mouths is more important than you will ever know. I'm telling you, I believe that beyond a shadow of a doubt. Every time, and there's so many people, Jillian, that's my age, that's walking with canes, that have all kind of illnesses. And when I listen to them and I look at what they're eating, and this is not to bash anybody, please don't get me wrong. This is not to bash anybody or anything like that. I don't go around looking on people's plates saying, "Ooh, you better not eat." I don't do that. I just do what I do, right? But
Hmm.
I believe this with everything that's within me. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say this, and y'all don't come for me in the comments. I don't believe this, it runs in my family situation. I'm sorry. I'm a rebel with a cause. I don't believe that. What runs in your family is bad habits.
Hmm.
And especially, let me talk to my people. Let me talk to you African Americans out there that love your you know what and your you know what and you know what and you know what and you're suffering from high blood pressure and diabetes and all of that. And you say things like, it runs in my family. Bad habits run in your family. Change your lifestyle when it comes to eating. Watch what you're eating. Watch what you're putting in your mouth. And I promise you, you'll see a difference in your health and your well being. The lesson that I've learned is it is paramount. And the reason why I have to say, sometimes being me is a dirty job, but I know that I have helped a lot of people by my candidness. And I'm not saying that everything I say people have to agree with. No, you don't have to agree with everything that I say, but I have been around the block a few times. I know I don't look 63, but I've been around the block a few times. So I've earned the right to know some things because I've had some experiences. And I will say this, and I'll end with this to your question, Jillian. I was on a call the other day, and this lady said that her husband, she asked us if we would pray for her husband because he had cancer and it wasn't looking good, and yada yada yada. So I started hearing, tell her to tell them, because it was several people on the call, talk to them about the importance of what we eat as it relates to cancer and any other disease. Talk to them about that. And I just briefly mentioned it in a very nice way because, again, I'm not out here trying to bash anybody, but I know what I know. I know what I know is tried and true. How about I had somebody reach out to me this morning that was on that call telling me they're getting ready to go on a 90-day fruit and vegetable lifestyle change because I haven't read the text because it was very long and I was getting ready to come on this call. So what I'm saying is that when we know what we know, we have to be diligent and we have to be intentional about sharing what we know, not to bash people and not to say, you need to do this and you need to do this because this is what I do. No, you don't have to do what I do, but just watch me. And if it's working for me, just try it. So the lesson that I've learned is it is very what we eat. You remember when we were growing up and they used to say, you are what you eat?
Hmm. It's true. It's so simple, but it's so true, right? It's so true. Yeah. Well, this is just, you're amazing. This has been really incredible. I've loved sharing your story and sitting down talking to you. And I just love all the positivity that's come into your life as a result of all of this and just your path. I'm so excited for you. And I'm wondering, okay, so let everybody know where they can find you before we end off. And then if there's anything else you feel called to share, then absolutely do so. Or if you feel like you've got it all out, that's okay too. But yeah, if there's anything else you want to share, then go right ahead and let everybody know where they can go find you. I'm not sure if you have any ebooks or like anything, but I mean, if you do, I'll direct everybody there.
I don't have any ebooks as of yet. I am in the process of creating a coaching program. I actually am rolling it out. Actually, how to transition to a plant-based lifestyle. So I'm rolling that out in January. But I can be found at CynthiaMobleyHowell.com, which that is my website, and it connects to all of my social media platforms. So that's always the easiest way to reach out to me, CynthiaMobleyHowell.com. And I believe the name of my business, I am the founder and CEO of How Well Are You? And it is a health and wellness business that's registered in the state of Florida. And our mission is to promote optimum well-being through the integration of the spirit, the soul, and the body, because I believe all three of those go hand in hand. I mentioned earlier that I am a mental health advocate, and I'm in the process of seeing how I can merge the vegan lifestyle with the mental health lifestyle, because I believe again that what we eat plays a big part on our mental health. And I am actually I'm releasing my first solo literary project, which is called Crazy Didn't Get Me, Preparation for My Destiny, in January. And it is a memoir about my journey with my siblings with mental health issues. However, other than that, that is, you don't see a lot of posts from me about my vegan journey, because I've just really started concentrating on it within the last couple of months because of the transformation. But you will be seeing a lot more of me. And I do want to mention this, absolutely want to mention this. One of the reasons why I wanted to come on, Gillian, because I want to let women that's 50 plus know that it can be done,
Mhm.
because you're not there yet. You have about another decade to get there. But
Mhm.
I found that it is true. It is true that metabolic rate changes. It's harder when you get a certain age, because with my research, between the ages of 20 and 30, it drops this amount, in between 30 and 40, that amount, or whatever. So by the time you get to 50, it's really at a snail's pace. But I'm a living witness, and I'm here to let you know, if you're a woman that's watching and you're 50 plus and you're dealing with unwanted pounds that you can't seem to get off, I'm here to let you know that it can happen. And I know that it can happen through taking on a plant-based lifestyle / raw vegan, because the plant-based lifestyle took me to one level, but raw vegan has taken me to a whole nother level. The weight really started dropping, obviously, when I became raw vegan. So I definitely want to talk to my women that's 50 plus to let you know, don't give up. Don't give up, girl. Don't give up just yet. Try to introduce more plant-based foods into your lifestyle, and I guarantee you'll see a change.
I love it. I love it, Cynthia. Well, thanks again. I think you're incredible. Thanks for coming on, sharing your story.
For having
And
me.
yeah, anytime. I would love to have you back in the future. And to the viewers, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, give it a big thumbs up right now and make sure you subscribe for more awesome videos just like this one. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.